again. Um, how did the team come out of the game the other night? Like how's Puff doing? Any I know you said you weren't worried about taste and status, but any update, any worries there? How are you guys like health wise going into this?
Yeah, Tayson's good to go. We were pretty light on the court yesterday, so no real indication of kind of any changes. Today will be a good indication of that. We're getting ready to practice here after this, so we should have a clear view of who's available, barring any setbacks and stuff today after practice.
Um, how has this week tested you as far as just being able to practice and trying to have as normal of a week as you can while you're also preparing for obviously a significant game this weekend?
Yeah, we took it one game at a time. We're in the middle of a significant stretch with the amount of games, 5 games we have in such a tight window. That this probably might be the first time I can remember being a part of that, but we're just taking it one day at a time and one game at a time. Certainly, this game here, being the second time we played them and it being a rivalry game, feels feels some type of way, but we're still this group has done a great job preparing and focusing on the task at hand, and all our attention is obviously on the team up north right now.
All right, Steve Hellwagon, you want to jump in?
Okay. Reflecting on the first game, it was a tie game with about 8 minutes to go, and then they went on a pretty good run there, 19-5. What do you tell your team or show your team out of that stretch that really kind of unraveled for you guys and allowed them to take control of the game in that situation?
I think, Steve, we looked at the things that we can control that we need to do better in that stretch. Um, Taking care of the ball. We drove into traffic a couple times during that stretch. We gave up some transition buckets, because of our turnovers, and then I think offensive rebounds was critical the entire game, but certainly critical in that stretch, giving up offensive rebounds.
hmm One other thing I'll ask, that game, it didn't feel like Devin Royal and Amari Bynum matched up all that great, and they're both coming off the game the other day against Maryland, where I think Bynum played the first 15 minutes. I'm not even sure he touched the ball, but I don't know what can you do to help those guys make a positive impact, perhaps on this game, or more of an impact, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think provide, clarity offensively and, also make sure that they're being assertive and aggressive. I think Amari's impact against Maryland wasn't necessarily felt in the stat sheet entirely with what he was doing out there. And, Devin as well. I mean, I thought the maturity that Devin played with against Maryland, his decision making, some of his passing was the best he's had all season. So, teams have to kind of pick and choose what they're going to do against us with our ability to have multiple offensive weapons on the court. Those guys are ready to roll, and I think our team's in a place now, Steve, where we're not forcing things. We're playing off of each other, which is really important, and allowing us to play with some great efficiency.
All right, we'll jump to Patrick Murphy. Patrick.
Hey, Jake. You've obviously stressed the importance of this rivalry, but it's different than football, right? You play, you want to play more than once a season. You could play in the postseason. I guess that happens in football too. But how do you emphasize that to guys, especially guys that are new to the program, maybe a guy that's, 1 year in?
Yeah, well, I think this rivalry is so well known across the country that when guys join our program, they know that this game is feels different. And until you get to experience it, maybe you can't fully appreciate it, but you certainly appreciate it to a great extent because it's the best rivalry in all of college athletics. And I'm biased, but arguably one of the best rivalries in all of sports. So I think there's an understanding, and then once you're in it, once you're in the trenches of it, you get it, you pick it up real quick. We got guys from Ohio certainly who help communicate that, but um, yeah. So we haven't had any issue getting everybody on board for
To
that.
follow up on Steve's question, the last game just in general, positives, negatives. What do you take? What do you want to show the guys? Hey, we did this really well. You touched on a little bit where you could be better, but just taking away stuff from that last game that can help you in this one.
Referencing the team up north, right?
Michigan, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I think a lot of it's the controllable things. You got to be high level at in a game like this, in a game of this caliber, and you want to certainly carve out space for guys to step up and make plays and let players be players. But I thought our execution of the game plan was good for major stretches of that game. And then, like good teams do, when you have a breakdown on either side of the ball, they make you pay. And ultimately that's what happened in that stretch there late in the second half. So, execution, attention to detail, poise, all of those things in these, high level games become even more critical than they usually are.
And you guys have played in a few of these this year where it hasn't quite gone your way, and those are the wins that you probably need for the tournament. Just how do you balance that emphasis on, hey, we need to grab this one? We've had these close games, but you don't want to make it too big of a thing so it's in players' heads.
Yeah, we've really, our guys have been focused on playing as well as we possibly can for the very next game. And I think we've learned from these some of these close games we've had in the past. And with our schedule and the way our schedule's built, you have so many big game opportunities that you can't look too far behind. You can't look too far ahead. I think you got to be in the moment and give all your energy, all your focus, all your effort on what's going on and preparing well. And that's what this group has done. This group has prepared well. They've been committed to that process. There's no reason to change that approach right now. Certainly, it's not to minimize the opportunity that's in front of us. We know that, but you look at our schedule, we got a lot of opportunities, remaining. So that's part of the great, one of the great things about being in what I believe is the best league, deepest league in the country is every single game after, you know, January 1 is a great opportunity. And, certainly this one is a huge one, and we know that and we embrace that, but we don't have to, I think, reference anything ahead or behind to get that point across.
All right, we'll go to Blake and then to Hannah. Blake.
Hey, Coach. Bruce didn't have his best game the first time you guys played the Wolverines. What's he done to adjust his mindset coming into this matchup tomorrow?
Yeah, listen, I mean, he's excited. Our whole team is, and I think the efficiency he played with last game was really impressive. He's going to continue to operate at a high level. His approach never wavers. Doesn't matter, what we have going on, who we're playing, and I think he always. It's why he's such a special player. He always brings his best. Every single game, every single opponent. Certainly, has been at Ohio State now for in his fourth year and understands, right, like what this game means. But I just want him to go out, be aggressive, and be himself. That's what great players do in these moments.
And Coach, lastly, what's your message to the crowd tomorrow?
Give us a home court advantage. Help us create a great atmosphere that we can benefit from, and let's do this together. I think that's the biggest thing. Our guys are going to play really hard. They're going to play really tough, and let's all work together to create a great home court advantage tomorrow.
Thanks, Coach.
And where's Scarlett?
Yeah, good plug. We'll go Hannah and then Andy. Hannah.
I know it's only been a couple weeks since you guys last played Michigan, but Taysom has sort of emerged. What else do you think has changed about your team in the last couple weeks?
Yeah, there's no question that the consistency that Taysom's played with, especially offensively, has really helped us. It's when you go back and reference the first time we played them, the bench production was really lopsided. And I think, we've been searching, giving different guys opportunity to step up and provide some production for us off the bench. And Taysom has really seized that as of late. And the efficiency that he's played at has been really impressive. So I think aside from that, we've shored up some things on both sides of the ball, and I like where we're at right now heading into this game.
What do you think makes preparing for Michigan different from just any other Big Ten opponent?
Their size, I think their size is different. There's other big teams in our league, but they're just at a different level of size than most everybody we've played all year. I think their depth is another thing. You look at who they're bringing in off their bench. They got great depth as well. So those two things are, there aren't very many teams really in the country who can roll out with that level of size and depth. But that I think that's probably the biggest thing.
Blake touched on this a little, but is the feel of this game different for you and the team, just knowing that it's at home versus on the road?
Uh, I don't know if it feels different. If it feels different regarding other games because of the rivalry, but I don't think it necessarily feels different than the first time we played because we were really excited and eager and aggressive and intense and all those things that go into a rivalry game, at their place. I think, being at home and certainly having our fans there can play a role in this, and we're hoping it does. But, you know, basketball, the way we all grew up and know it, was designed for, you to play the other team on the road and at home. And certainly I think rivalry games should be cemented in that kind of way we know in the history of the game. And so yeah, when that game ended, we referenced, the opportunity that was going to be ahead of us against them again, and our guys are excited about it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go Andy Anders and then Riley. Andy.
Yeah, hi, Jake. You talked about the depth a little bit there with Hannah, and that was kind of where my question was. Just want to kind of like when a team can go nine deep like that, and really like nine guys that play at least 15 minutes a game. What are the challenges of matching up with that? Maybe keeping guys fresher down the stretch when you have obviously a few guys at the top of your rotation who are going to be playing 32, 34 minutes in this one.
Yeah, well, I think each team is built different, and what we've done is prepared all year to play some guys heavy minutes. And I think there certainly could be moments, and what we have to be mindful of are moments that fatigue could creep in, especially in the second half. I think our guys they've trained really hard and are built are built to handle that well. There's things that I can do from timeouts and stuff in substitution patterns to help if that comes into play. But we're built to be able to play a lot of minutes, and we're used to that. And so, again, every team's built different. That's how we're built. It's how we have to play, and our guys will be ready. And since that game, I do feel like we've had some other guys, raise their level, which is really encouraging. I think when you look at where our bench production has been since that game, it's been improved, and it hasn't just been one guy; it's been multiple guys in different moments. So, that we're still looking for, I think, those guys to all kind of have a good game on the same day, and that'll be really helpful. But got great confidence in everybody who's going to check in to the game tomorrow, and they're all really excited about the opportunity ahead of us.
And then with Kristoff, the bounce back he had from Wisconsin game to this last game, when you're seeing him on the offensive floor playing like he was at Maryland, just what makes the difference for him in terms of what he's doing well when he's producing the way he was against the Terrapins there?
I think he's being aggressive and he's playing with poise in the paint. Um, and his playmaking for us is a real weapon because he can certainly create for himself and others. And we're able, to do some things offensively a little differently when he's playing at that level. It just adds another element for us. So I'm really, really glad and certainly, not surprised either that he responded the way he did. This is a guy who, didn't really get to practice leading into the game at Wisconsin, who was working really hard to get back on the court and was able to get some good practice days leading into the game against Maryland. So, um, I think we all anticipated him playing better. To what degree, right? Ultimately, he decided that, and he came out in a big way against Maryland, and hopefully gives them some momentum here moving forward down the stretch.
We're going Riley Cahill. Riley.
All right. Less than 10 turnovers in each of the last three games, which is the first time this season that's happened. Has there been a certain emphasis in practice or an adjustment that's led to the team being able to take care of the ball better recently?
I think that's something that evolves as the year goes on. And for us, we talk a lot about valuing possessions and how to do it, and reading crowds and 2 foot plays in the paint and um, utilizing fakes. All of those things go into certainly helping us take care of the ball better. But we also talk about the guy with the ball certainly has a big responsibility, but so does everybody else. Moving off the ball, cutting, communicating, finding windows, and helping your teammate out when they are in a compromised position are all points of emphasis for us. And I think we've stuck with it. We've continued to get better at it as the years gone on.
All right, we'll finish up with Adam. Adam.
Jake, earlier in the season when Junie had a little stretch where he missed a couple of free throws, you helped him out with that a little bit. You said like sometimes you talk guys through free throw issues, sometimes you just kind of let them go. It's been a couple of strange games for Bruce at the line, given the level he was shooting at to that point. Have you worked with him at all? Is there anything different there for him? His shot looks a little flatter, maybe. But are you seeing anything with him at the line?
He and I had a conversation. I think the second time he went to the line and missed maybe that first one and then made the second one. We had a quick conversation there before he shot the second one. Just a minor adjustment that I thought would help him. And he, sometimes when you're shooting, like you just need someone else maybe to help you identify and see, and it can just help trigger something real quick for you. So now I'm not worried at all about his free throws. Certainly would love to shoot better than where we were 18 for 30. I think last game was good. We got to the free throw line like we did
Mhm.
against an aggressive defensive team. This is going to be another game where getting to the free throw line will be an important and a point of emphasis for both teams, I'm sure. And so, yeah, we got confidence in our guys to step up and make them, especially Bruce. And there's oftentimes, I think, Adam, when you can overcoach in those situations
Sure.
and make it something it's not. So you got to know your personnel. And sometimes if a guy's struggling, he's just looking for something to hold on to help him get out of it. And I think that's the job of a coach, is to help identify what a player needs in that moment. And it may be something that really is so minor, but it just gives them a confidence mentally that can completely flip things.
And
And
you guys have a McDonald's All-American for the first time since D'Angelo. What is that? How do you feel about that? What was your reaction to Anthony Thompson getting that award, and what does that mean for the program?
it's great. He deserves it. He's one of the best players in the country in his class, and I think it says something about where our program is heading. There's a lot of areas we got to continue to grow in, and myself, our staff, and the administration here are working really hard to do that. And I think for him to you know come here because of who we are and come here because of what Ohio State can mean for him for the rest of his life, and to come here because he wants to win on the biggest stage says a lot about where we're heading. And he's certainly a very talented young man. He's an even better person, and his family's been awesome to get to know and work with as they have joined ours. And I'm just, I'm really excited about him. He deserves it. And it's great for us. And I think I also want to highlight Alex and what he's been able to do this year. You're looking at a young man who's really grown in a lot of areas of his game and is on the rise. And so we're like, we couldn't be more excited about this class. I've talked to you guys before. I know it's a small class. It's kind of the way it's always been designed to be. And those two guys are going to be good players at Ohio State. And, we're really excited about both of them. But McDonald's All-American's a big deal, Adam, and there's no doubt about it.
Patrick got his hand up before the 3 count, so we'll give him
Fine.
one more time.
I got 10 minutes, but we're gonna stop it at that if we need to, Gary. All right.
All right. Yep.
This shouldn't take 10 minutes. You just mentioned size a lot, when obviously Michigan has plenty of that, but you're not going to grow between now and then. How do you combat that size with what you've got, given you've seen them already once this season?
Yeah, we got to play with great physicality, and we're not small. I mean, obviously, Brandon being out has impacted us. There's no question about that. I think 6'8", 240 some pounds, good athlete like that with a ton of experience. You feel that, but what we've seen is we've seen guys like Yvonne and Amari. Amari was playing at a high level, before Brandon got hurt, but I think the consistency that he's played with has been really impressive. And Yvonne has come in and given us some really good minutes and has rebounded well, and we've talked about, we have in our bag an ability to play Yvonne and Tilly together if necessary. And, Devin's an important component to all this because he gives us size against most teams. Now, the team up north 3-man is big as well, but his size at that spot gives us usually an advantage in some games as well. So we're not small. They're really big. Again, it's the way they were able to design their roster, and those guys are good players too. I mean, there's no question about it. So, but I like the fight and the physicality we play with, Patrick, and I think that's going to be an important part of it.
Awesome. Coach, thanks.
All right, guys.